Critical Thinking Rule 13, Cite Your Sources. Rule 13 is relevant to arguments from authority. An argument from authority infers that a claim is true because a relevant authority says so. A source is the relevant authority cited in an argument from authority. Here's an example. Neil deGrasse Tyson says the universe is around 14 billion years old. Therefore, the universe is around 14 billion years old. So the conclusion is supposed to be proven by the fact that this source, Neil deGrasse Tyson, says so. All arguments from authority are invalid. That means that even if the premises are true, the conclusion could still be false. It's not that hard to see why this is so. Even if someone has genuine expertise in an area, it's always at least possible, logically speaking, that they're wrong. So the truth of the premise doesn't guarantee the truth of the conclusion. Nevertheless, arguments from authority can be logically strong. Good or effective arguments from authority give you good reason to believe the conclusion, even if they don't prove it definitively. So in a strong argument from authority, if the premise is true, it makes the conclusion highly probable. So let's look at Rule 13. Now, not every single claim needs to be cited. Some widely known factual assertions do not need citations. For example, if you claim the United States has 50 states, this is a widely known fact, so it requires no citation. However, many factual assertions that are not common knowledge do need citations. And this issue of citation goes beyond even arguments from authority, because arguments that have a different logical structure may still need to cite particular claims that they make in the argument. So an example of a factual assertion that's not common knowledge is the exact population of the United States. That changes over time, and that's part of the reason why it's not as common knowledge as the number of the United States. The current US population is 321 million. If you made that claim as part of an argument, it would be a good idea to cite it. So now we want to talk about vague versus precise citations. In general, the more information about the source that's provided, the better. If you look at the meme on the right, enlightenment is when a wave realizes it is the ocean. It only provides the name of the alleged source, Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a renowned Buddhist monk from Vietnam originally. However, it does not provide any additional information about the source other than the name. So here are some additional elements that can be provided. The complete name of an author, as well as the author's affiliation to a business, agency, a government agency, or other type of organization. That can often be relevant when citing not a published document, but citing someone in an interview. Also, if you don't know the name of an author of a piece that you're using, such as an article that's published on the internet, then you can write the article title or the name of a website that it's from in place of an author, but that's still useful information to have. Secondly, with regards to the title of a source, be careful to distinguish between an article title, a book title, and a website title. So for example, the article title, this has to do with the format of citations, but the article title is conventionally put into quotation marks in American English, or the title of a book is put into italics. Also, be sure to distinguish between an article title and the title of a journal or periodical that the article is published in. So for example, if you're citing an article from the New York Times, you want to include both the title of the particular article and the title of the periodical that it's from, the New York Times. Both of those are important information to include in the citation so that your reader or audience can track down that source. Also, there's a difference between the title of a chapter of a book versus the title of the book itself or the title of an edited anthology. So it can be okay to cite the particular chapter of a longer book by one author, but more commonly it's necessary to cite the title of a particular chapter of a book if that chapter is by a different author than are the other chapters in that book. And that can happen if you have a book that's actually a collection or anthology of separate pieces, each of which has its own author or authors. In that case, you need to cite the title both of the individual chapter, which you would usually put in quotation marks, and the title of the whole edited anthology, which would be in italics. As well, it's good to have information such as the date of publication of a source, the web address or URL of an internet source, and the date accessed. So the more information that's provided, the better. Sometimes you don't need all of these elements depending upon the source and the context. Next up is Rule 14, seeking informed sources.